What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? So today we here with your favorite nurse within America and throughout the world, Nurse Angela. She's here with us once again, and we're going to talk to her just about some of you responses to her and a few other things that maybe concern her within the medical field. So, Nurse Angela, thank you for joining us once again today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Nurse Angela. So, last time you broke down the Dr. Susan Moore video. I mean, you broke it down to precision, broke it down. Great video. What has been the responses since that video?
Well, more importantly, I wanted to say that I'm glad that I had the opportunity to break that video down so that the powers that be, which I'm strictly talking about the white people in Indiana and university healthcare system, understand clearly that what happened to Dr. Moore was absolutely a travesty that they allowed to happen. And now I see that they're doing a investigation, and it's a diverse panel of doctors and nurses. Yeah, because they know what happened there was absolutely unequivocally their fault, and they hastened her death, and they know that there's going to be some recompense for just that. So yeah, I was glad that I could do that.
So have anyone possibly contacted you, maybe from the medical field or even from there, to say, hey, I saw the video, you put out. Have you had any of those kind of responses?
Yes, I've now started to network with other like nurse practitioners, some family nurse practitioners, pediatric nurse practitioners, actual just registered nurses, and then advanced practice nurses like myself, all Black, who are interested in leaving here and taking their skills to the continent. And I'm starting to network with them so that we can get a collection together, because together there ain't nothing we can't do as Black nurses. And I'm not talking about the ones who we don't want. I'm strictly talking about the ones that are doing good for our people.
Correct. Now, what are the condition of people that have been reaching out to you? Because some people have been telling me, they reached out to me and they say, hey, how do I get in contact with Nurse Angela? I got some questions. And so I say, well, her email is right there. You can definitely reach out. What's been the tone of the emails?
Most of the emails are, there have been valid concerns. Most of the emails are strictly due to the treatment that they have gotten inside of the westernized medicine healthcare system. Because, in America, we monetize people. We make humans profit. It's profit driven. And so, like, there's big institutions that I even fall victim to them, like Kaiser, which is what I'm dealing with right now. I'm dealing with Kaiser in Northern California. And so most of the emails were just comes down to basic shoddy nursing and medical care toward our people. And they think no one notices it. These white people honestly believe that Black people don't know that they're being treated bad. They know, they just don't know where to turn. So most of the questions that I have been answering have been, where do we turn in regards, because we know this. I've gotten medical records, and I went through medical records and, tried to find things that were not the standard of care, because that's the one thing that you can definitely get white people on, is if you fell outside the standard of care for your regulatory agency that governs your license, there's recompense. And I work for the State Board of Nursing as a nurse practice consultant. So I can tell you honestly, I played no favorites. No favorites. If you was white, Black, green, purple, but mostly white people, because they just do stuff that they just think they can get away with. But you come before me with the board doing some craziness, there's going to be some recompense. And so most of the questions have been according to the standards of care that have not been upheld because we're Black.
So you said the best way to deal with medical racism is to go after their licenses?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How do we do that?
Okay, so we have within healthcare, we have several different entities within healthcare that are licensed by state agencies. So you have nursing, which I'm a part of. So I'm a part of nursing, and nursing is regulated by each individual state. It's also, we have a National Council of State Boards of Nursing. And so that's what regulates nursing. Then you have medicine, and what regulates medicine is medical boards. So each individual state has its own medical board that you can go through to. You have physical therapy, they are also licensed. You have social work, they are also licensed clinical social workers. And so all of these entities within inside of our healthcare system have licenses, and we all have standards in which we have to practice to. and uphold. And one of those practices and standards that you have to uphold is to be a patient advocate. Plain and simple. It's not color driven. If you are a practicing health practitioner, one of your key rules and regulations that are governed by your lawmakers who make them in your state is that you must be a patient advocate. You cannot hasten the death of a patient. You cannot cause harm to a patient, and you must advocate in their best interest. And that's what happened with Susan Moore's case, is that they didn't advocate for her. So you see what happened with that.
Correct. And she definitely isn't the only one. But so when you feel
Correct.
something happen to you like that, do you have to, what kind of attorney did you need to consult? Because sometimes people like, well, I need a lawyer, but they may not know what kind of lawyer to talk to.
Right. So the first thing you can do in most how would I say, most institutions that are headed by people that don't look like us are not going to let you know that before you, even with employment law, that before you ever file a lawsuit on discrimination, that you must go to these regulatory that regulate the regulators, and you have to file cases with them, a grievance with them. And then once they give you the, okay, you've been discriminated against, blah, blah, blah. In employment law, it comes from the EOC, the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission, that you have to go and do that before, you have to file a grievance with them, a complaint stating you were discriminated. And you have to be very, very crystal clear, because what these people get by with is that things are vague. Oh, did they call you the N-word? You don't have to call someone an N-word to not to be discriminatory and bias in your care. So you have to be very crystal clear on where you think these people discriminated against you. I mean, to the granular. And I've went through it several times. And when I say granular, and I've learned all these pearls of wisdom through doing these different agencies. So you have the EOC, but for healthcare, it's the Department of Health and Human Services. Matter of fact, it's even more specific. It's the Office of Civil Rights within the Department of Health and Human Services that deals with discrimination within healthcare settings. So if you get insurance money, you can even if people, this is what I say, my case that I'm dealing with right now is I'm dealing with the fact that they didn't do any physical assessments when they took me in. And on top of not doing any physical assessments, they allowed me to sit for 7 months on bed rest. I lost so much muscle tissue that I was basically unable to walk. So now they feel like, well, we didn't really do you harm. Yes, you did. And I'm going to get you because you did do me harm. But here's the thing. I had to file with the Office of Civil Rights with the Department of Health and Human Services to plead my case, to tell them that I basically was a victim of discriminatory care within the healthcare system. And so that's where I tell everyone to start. File your complaints with the Office of Civil Rights with the Department of Health and Human Services. File with CMS, which is the Centers for Medicaid and Medicaid Services. So if anyone's getting Medicaid, if anyone's getting Medicare, you can get them clean and clear with CMS. So CMS, Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Civil Rights. You can file with JCO, which is Joint Commission of Healthcare Organizations. Let's see, who else? 1, 2, 3. There's a bunch of regulatory agencies in which you have to file, but the most important one is the Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay, so let me recap. So you go, if you have an instance, you go to the Office of Civil Rights within the Department of Health and Human Health Services, correct? Make a complaint there. Correct. Be very, very meticulous on what you write, very descriptive, time. If you remember a name, who they were, what they said. I mean, you got to be basically a great detailed statement to them. Once you make the detailed statement, file that. Then would you get like a case number, or what happens from there?
You do. You get a case number once you filed, and it can be all done online. So I want people to understand this can all be done online. So you can do it online. You'll get a case number. They'll give you the case number, and then you'll hear back from them. Every time you file a complaint, you'll get a case number. You need to keep meticulous notes. You need to make sure if you talk to someone, you got their name. You need to make sure that you do date and time. You need to make sure that even after you filed with all these different agencies, you have to keep track of it. You just might as well start you a little folder and then start going through all the things. The most important thing is to get your medical record, because they say all kinds of crazy things inside of a medical record, and it ain't always accurate. And it's not all, and a medical record is a legal record. So you're not supposed to lie in it. And they be lying. So you just got to go through it piece by piece.
All right. So recently, things you haven't been seeing here in the news lately, and we still in this, pandemic, and even, now Donald Trump's gone. You got, Jim Crow Joe. He's in, but he said that he believes the numbers gonna go up to 600,000. So based off of everything that you've been seeing, why are they still failing?
Because they don't know what they're doing. This whole pandemic is such a colossus. I mean, if you look at before, I mean, we all know, as we're professionals, we've worked with these people for a very long time. So even before the pandemic, they didn't know what they was doing. So I wasn't surprised that when we get to this point, that because they're reactive with everything, and you have to be proactive, especially when you're dealing with people. I've been in public health for 12 years. Since you deal with large groups of people, you have to be proactive. You have to be able to strategize and understand what's the trends, what's happening, what people are looking like, people's habits. These people know nothing about nobody. And so it is not surprising to me. It's just very disappointing that these Black people just keep jumping in, confusing the situation. Tyler Perry, stay somewhere, sit down. No one needs people like this to confuse the situation.
And I think I know exactly what you're talking about, but he's trying to make this push to get people to get that V word. And I'm like, oh, you watching the news? Like you see what's going on? Like, so we got to be careful here because everything's the powers that be. They got that agenda.
Right.
I'm like, why are you pushing that, brother? Man, listen, make more shows. Stay in that lane.
My thing is this. They didn't even try this darn vaccine on animals. How you gonna think you're gonna give it to people? Like, you've got to be kidding me. And you can say whatever, and people can say whatever, but I'm telling you, don't do that. It's a bad situation. They don't know the side effects of this. I don't care what they say. You don't know because it ain't been around long enough. You didn't try it on animals, so you don't know if it makes animals die, their hair fall out. You don't know what happens. We have a 7-year vaccine program for a reason. We have it for a reason. And when you start skipping steps, you're going to end up with some I Am Legend. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they did skip animal trials. They sure did. And they say, well, because all the money they inject into it, we didn't really feel like we need to do that. And like, I have a thing about don't rush things. Like let things be right. Because for instance, this is on a small scale. We working on an app for our website. And
right.
I told them, I don't want you to rush this. I want you to make it right. Okay, because when you rush stuff and then it comes out and then it's a colossal failure, it's because you rushed it instead of you waiting maybe like when the vaccine, wait a little while longer because these people, they don't want to wait for nothing because they're all about the money. Give me the money. You understand what I'm saying? And like you said, in healthcare, they monetize you. In education, my sister was telling me about that. She worked in the school. She said every child that's in there is money.
Monetized. Most definitely. Every child in the public health care system, in the public education system is monetized. Make no mistake about it. I'm going to speak strictly for the state of California because that's where I live and reside and where I'm from. And so if you're paying $133 per child per day as they sit in a seat, you got to know that somebody's going to be coming after Black parents when your children aren't there because they ain't getting money. And we live in a capitalistic system. So if anybody wants to be delusional, if they want to, this virus is capitalistic. Make no mistake about it. Even down to the oxygen tanks. People ain't even paying attention to stuff like that. But you know what? Oxygen ain't forever. Just because we went around breathing it. Liquid oxygen that goes in hospitals takes a lot to make it. And it's not so much it takes a lot to make the oxygen. It takes a lot to make the oxygen tanks that it goes in. So, they run it around here playing all day long, but that stuff is not infinite. It runs out while y'all playing. And then what happens when you have no oxygen or no natural gases to give these people in the hospital? Then what happens? I'm just saying, white supremacy's always been about resources. So I want Black people to understand clearly, they're a resource. You're a resource, Black people. And that's what capitalism and white supremacy is about. Resources. And who has them and who has access to them.
But Black people have been a resource, ever since, you want to put it like that, since slavery. And the only reason, like you said, they hold on to us too, because they really don't want us to leave like that. Because I always tell people, at one point in time, you used to hear a lot of white supremacists saying, why don't you go back to Africa? Go back to Africa. Then all of a sudden, brothers and sisters start saying, yeah, let's go. And then more and more of us start going. And then all of a sudden, you don't hear that back to Africa talk. People wonder, like, what's going on over there? Why y'all want to be over there? You understand?
White people are their own worst enemy. So I remember when I was younger and I had this white person tell me to go back to Africa. I'm like, whatever. But I will tell you, they don't mean that. They say things, lots of things. White people like to run their mouth and they like to say lots of things that they don't mean, and they don't even know what half the stuff means. I'm not giving them credit. We ain't going to give them credit like they just so stupid running around saying things, because that's not real. It wasn't real with Trump. He knew exactly what he was saying. I get so sick of people giving people the benefit of the people know what they're saying. They know what they're doing. And if it wasn't for slavery of our ancestors, there would be no such thing as capitalism. And Black people need to recognize that capitalism in and of itself means the exploitation of Black people. Plain and simple. You can't start a country on capitalism, aka slavery, and not expect that it's still going on today. We ain't never gonna get rid of it, and Black people can stay here if they want to and deal with that, but that's their choice. It's their choice. Be a slave forever. That's their choice. It's a choice to be a slave. I know Kanye said that, but he's crazy. But I know Kanye said that, but it's for real. It's a choice, because slavery now in modern times is mental. It's mental.
Oh, boy.
You are not behind. You are not in chattel slavery. This is all mental.
But
and you're right. 2/3 of us ain't gonna make it. It's real.
But my thing is, with they will fight you so hard to actually still be underneath the pressure, even though you telling them all of the medical racism that's going on.
Oh yeah.
How to report it, how to do this, how to do that. They still would be like, well, I rather deal with Massa. At least I know what he's gonna do to me. But I don't want to, take my chances, maybe to see what's up, somewhere else. So let me ask you a question. You say you're building this team, this team of nurses, to possibly go to the continent. Have y'all found a particular place? I don't want the exact location, but do you have a particular country that you say, we want to look at first, or certain countries you want to look at?
Yes, I have the country, I have the land, I have the support system, and with all that, there's nothing you can do when you have a collective. Black people need to be collective, because that's the only way we're going to make it through this. So I have went about setting a collective, and I started way back at the beginning of last year doing this. And so this is just part of the evolution as we move, as I move forward and the rest of us move forward. And the plan is to basically partner with ADDI and Dr. Shabora, Ericana Shabora. And I've been involved in several conferences with ADDI, and I'm going to be in another conference with ADDI, and we'll just move forward, and we'll just keep plucking at it one piece at a time. And the more nurses that I can get to follow, the better. The better.
Yeah, that's great that you're partnering, with Dr. Arikana. That's great, because, like I say, hey, that's right up your alley, right?
Yes.
So someone that's in medical profession, and but the opportunities, like I say, are so vast. And now, will you try to, once you get there and get acclimated, are you trying to get citizenship?
Yes. And I'm of the mind, because I have both of my DNA strands, so I know where I come from, and I know where my ancestors are from, and I have my DNA certificates, but I just think that my Black skin is my passport. I just don't believe that I should have to, here's my proof. Here's my proof that I'm African American. Here's my proof that my ancestors are from here. I'm not down with that. I don't like the feeling of it. And so as long as I would rather do it because I genuinely want to integrate where I'm going. And I want that to be my new life moving forward, the second part of my life. So I think that I'm going to hold out until it works the way that I feel it should work. And I'm not presenting anything to anybody to prove nothing, because I
No,
am who I am.
and the thing
So
is, when you get there on the ground and you get to the hospitals and you start working with people and networking people and knowing with different
right,
ministers in the government, and like I
yes,
said, you never know. They probably eventually put you in a top position in nursing in one of the hospitals, and maybe you can open up a training school and start training all these sisters and
there
brothers
you
to
go.
become
See, there
nurses.
you go. See,
Yeah,
now you in my head,
yeah,
because that's my goal.
that's what I see. That's what I see. Like what you, because it would
That's
be
my
like
goal.
a travesty if you didn't do that.
Yeah, that's my goal. I've been like I said, I've been a public health nurse for 12 years, an advanced practice public health nurse, and I'm passionate. I am passionate about nursing, and I had tried to do some AIDS nursing in Africa probably about
Mhm.
5, 6 years ago. And then that fell through. And ever since that fell through, I have been looking and I have been open to the spirit to tell me what I need to do, because I know that I am here for a purpose. So I said, I have purest intentions. And what has happened has been the heavens has opened up. So I'm good. Whatever happens moving forward, first of all, it's out of my hands. It's in God's hands. So whatever happens as we move forward, is definitely a blessing times 10 and more. So I have no concerns. Once I get to the continent, it's going to be all fine. I'm not worried. I don't live in a world where people become my enemies based on things that aren't real. So I always go into things with my purest intentions, because that's just the way that I am.
Yeah, and I try to tell brothers and sisters, all the time that I'm not at this point for trying to convince anybody to change or look at me
Right.
different. I'm
Right.
not for, oh, let's go to the diversity and inclusion department of whatever you want to talk
Yeah.
about, right? We just at a point in Black people, either we go ahead and do what we're going to do for our community globally,
Right.
right? Or just don't say nothing at all. Like we complain, oh, we
Right.
don't have no nursing schools, we don't have this. Well, if you're not going to create it, brother or sister,
Right.
then just why you complain? One thing about them folks, and definitely dealing with racism,
Mm-hmm.
they have been forced to deal with Black folks. Like
Right.
when you have to be forced to deal with somebody, how you treat them.
Right.
It's like
You
telling
treat them like you're
somebody,
being forced to deal with them.
yeah, it's like it's somebody forcing you to say, hey, you got to pick them up every day and bring them to school and back. When you see them, you're not gonna be happy. You're not gonna treat
Right.
them nice. You're gonna
Right.
be indifferent. You're like, oh, I got to do this crap. That's what happens with us.
Right. That is. I made a pray. I prayed because I've worked for 30 years with these
Mm.
folks, and and all 30 years they don't want me, and I have known it. It's not painful to me for them not to be wanted, because I don't want to be around them either. But the way that they've set up the system is like I don't have no choice unless I just don't want to do nothing, right? So I carved out a little a niche for myself. And so my niche consisted of I don't believe in integration. That's the bottom line. I don't believe in integration. I didn't have no friends at work. These people try to wiggle their way into your lives. They want to know about your kids. It's none of your business, because we ain't friends outside of this job. You understand? Everything to me was a job until I opened up my own business 12 years ago as a consultant. Everything was a job to me. And then at 12 years ago, it became my passion, because I can do what I want and I don't have to listen to these people in my ear all the time. But until you actually have to work for just you and you don't have to work for somebody else, you're never going to understand clearly. You're just never going to understand. These people don't want you. I don't know why Black people try so hard to integrate with them. I honestly, as a Black person, I don't understand. And I'm like the old, if you a Bible person and you understand, Moshe went through the same thing, Moses went through the same thing. He went through the same thing. Those people wanted to stay in Egypt and be abused and all that kind of stuff, and he was like, God, come on, help my people. There ain't no helping these people. They don't want to be helped. I'm just gonna leave them. I'm gonna leave them and I'm gonna move on and do something for myself. Because for 30 years I've been worried about Black people. For 30 years.
Oh boy.
And they ain't done me no favors. They ain't been nice.
Boy.
Black people ain't been nice to me. Not up in here until recently.
Whew, boy, I tell you, 'cause last week I made a live stream about, 2/3 of it just not, just not going. I just believe we're not going to make it. And what you just said, it's like you can get to that point and say, you know what, I can't. I done what I had to do. I said I'm just going. You can easily get that way because it's like the people that you're fighting for. It's the ones that's fighting against you. And they're fighting against you not because you're lying. They never accuse you of lying. They basically mad at you and defending like basically their oppression. And that's what they want to be. But at the same time,
I'm gonna give you a prime example, Phillip. I'm gonna give you a prime example. So I went through this lawsuit with a major hospital up here because they was down. When I tell you they stalked me, they harassed me, they was making my life a living HELL. And I was the director of surgical services for this particular hospital. It's a big hospital system, one of the largest up here. And I had one, I made it a point to hire Black nurses. That's what I did. I don't care. And, they wanted to file lawsuits against me saying I was racist, doing reverse discrimination, which don't exist. So don't come to me with that reverse discrimination crap because it don't exist. And they filed lawsuits in their union against me, all this craziness. And there was one nurse that I was especially close to because she was my charge nurse. She's Black. She turned state's evidence on me and went and sided with the white people and wrote this scathing, nasty letter. Full of lies. But she sided with the white people. And I thought to myself, how dare you? Because what I told her when I left, when I started this lawsuit, is that, you know what? All the stuff I've said to you was said to you in confidence. So when they start asking you questions, just keep your mouth shut. You don't have to say nothing. The best is silence. But she just couldn't do that. So I've learned my lesson the very, very hard way that Black people, they want to, for some reason, they need white people. And so I prayed. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, and when I was mentioning earlier about it's weird because, like you said, in 1 minute you're attacking a Black person, like I was mentioning in that live stream. I don't know no other group of people that would say I'm sick of these, pro-Blacks. I'm sick of people talking about back to Africa. I'm sick, but I say in no other group says they're sick of the people being pro-Arab, pro-white, pro-Asian, pro-whatever. Right. Nobody never says that. Only Black folks say that, and who just they say it for? In defense of white supremacist system. You know what I'm saying? Not because it's going to be better for them. And then at the same time, you talk about going to the continent, what you going over there for? Why you want to be over there? It's like
they want you to be miserable right here with them. They're like, oh well, I don't have the courage to do it. They talk game, but they're really what it is that they don't have the courage. And they just run around being scary in America, being scared of what white people gonna do next. That's the only reason they were so like, I got to get Donald Trump out. No, the reason you want Donald Trump out is because that racism was right there in your face. And I'm going to tell you, Black people in America, you ain't ready for that Joe Biden racism. I can tell. If y'all was scared of Trump racism, y'all ain't ready for that backdoor, stab you in the back, take your kids, and rob you of everything you got racism that Joe Biden got for y'all. Liberal racism is really what we've been dealing with. That's what we've been dealing with. And the fact that we got somebody, but Donald Trump, that was like out there like, I'm a racist and I don't care. I want 10 times over. Tell me you are racist. I don't want to have to guess you are racist. I like you in my face because I know who I can trust and who I can't. I don't trust any white person. But what I'm telling you is that I would rather see it in my face. I don't want the back door. I have to come in from work because this is how it usually happens. You come in from work because you've been talked about. And then you come back to work and everybody knows your business because they've all said it out there. Because that's what white people do. The business environment is a gossip session. They don't work. They just gossip. And so you've been talked about. And you've been talked about because they look at you funny. They do the side glances. They act uncomfortable because they know they've been talking crazy.
I know exactly what you mean. But see, at this point in the game, like I said, I'm like, I can care less. I'm in a great position in my life. I feel when it comes to just not caring about a whole lot of things.
Right.
Just as you get older, all that I care about this, I care about that. I just think it's sad when I see, especially Black folks who are educated, talented, and still want to, tap dance. Like last week, I was asked a question on Fox Soul about, what do you think about, like, do white people need to watch your platform? I'm like, I'm being professional as I can on this show because I really want to go another route with that. But I'm like, I don't do my show for nobody else but for the community. I'm not saying anybody can watch and learn. No problem. But my show, we don't have nothing as Black people. Why do I have to include, I'll make an effort to include a group who has every media house in the world just about?
And work on excluding you.
Too?
And work on excluding you, though. The thing is that they got everything over there, but they work on excluding you from even from your own stuff. They try to exclude you from your own stuff so they can be included in your stuff. It's the most asinine relationship, and I can't understand why Black people would willingly enter into a relationship where you get nothing out of it. Like they take everything, you get nothing. Like it just makes no sense. It's so uneven and out of balance. Like if that's the way, I mean, like I said, if Black people want to live their lives that way, that's their choice because God gave us all free will. But I will tell you, don't be surprised if things don't go your way. Don't be surprised.
Well, it's not going that way now. You look at the situation with Black folks was line dancing and getting their booty to the pole and all kind of things they were doing, right? And then soon as Biden, twerking. As soon as Biden got in there, he talking about everything else but you, everything else and everybody else but you, and he's still gonna keep doing that. You watch. They go, I'm gonna put Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill. So
that, I mean, like, why? Why?
We didn't ask you for that.
Why you want to put, you know what? Harriet Tubman don't want to be on your money. I can tell you that right now. If I got a straight line to my ancestor, which she is one of them, she don't want to be on y'all's money. Y'all's money is corrupt. Your money was the money that put us in capitalism. Nobody wants to be on y'all's money. It's an insult. It's an insult. And Black people should look at it nothing but an insult. Harriet Tubman don't want to be on y'all's money. That's why she left and moved up to Canada. She ain't trying to be on y'all's money.
We still living in the system that Harriet Tubman was fighting against. It's just refined. Right. That's it. It's the same system she fought against.
Same system, same game, same game. They ain't changed a bit. From 1462 when Portugal decided to do what they do. They ain't changed one bit. From 1691, when they first started the slave trade out of the Senegambia and Senegal area, bringing my ancestors here for rice fields in the South, they ain't changed one bit. They rape, they pillage. It changes form, but it don't change. The game is still the same. How can we exploit Black people? And I'm here to tell you, I'm not one of these Black people that they're not exploiting me. I'm done. I'm pushing that easy button and I'm leaving. I'm done.
And I support, trust me, I support those actions. Like I said, like I told you before, like our company is established, thank God we have an established company in Kenya now. And, we got people working for us in Kenya as well. So it's trust me, it can be done. The only thing that held me back on some things was COVID. I said, once this COVID thing died down, I'm running out of the gate like a racehorse.
Well, I hope you come to Senegal area because that
wherever
you gonna be on and popping.
Wherever you gonna listen, I'll talk to you afterwards, not publicly, but I want to talk to you about some of those initiatives because that's awesome. What you're trying to do, and we need the medical in the continent to go up, and even the medical education, and even just the education about the system. Because now when you go to the other side, you're gonna be dealing with the British and the French and all that,
those ones
you deal with. Yeah.
I call them the original devils.
The Brits
most people, they're the original devils. And I said, most people don't spend their time like researching white people. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm one of those Black people. You gonna research me, I'm gonna research you to death. Do you hear me? To death. I know more about white people than they ever wanted any black person to know about them. I know their languages. I know their customs. I know what y'all do.
They still neo-colonizing now. And then the other thing you have to deal with too, just to be a realist. You know, the same kind of black people you got here, you go run into them on the continent too. You know, want that validation from Mzungu mommy and daddy and an old boy. So I mean, trust me, I seen it maybe once or twice, and it was sickening the way they were fawning over. You know, like these Mzungus look dusty. They look dusty when they show up. I'm like, what are you doing? So I'm like, we are greatly needed on the continent to change that mindset. Because they see them like, oh, it's money, but if more of us show up with the same amount of money or more, then it'll change the paradigm.
Right. Nothing that surprises me because I've traveled around this whole world. And like I told you before, I was a military wife for 21 years. So I've been lots of places. People are ridiculous. No matter where you go, people are ridiculous. They're just ridiculous.
Yes, ma'am. We can talk about that forever. But it was like, Nurse Angela, tell people once again, how could they contact you? Because I know some people they love you, and then some people want to send you probably a few hate mail. And I know you're good for that.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They do. They send you hate mail. No, okay, give them the email, but I want to know about at least one hate mail you got that just really stuck out. But give me your email.
A as in apple, D as in dog, I as in igloo, M as in Mary, U as in umbrella, addimoo34@outlook.com.
Okay. So before we wrap up, tell us one hate mail that you got that just really stuck out that you remember, like, oh, I remember that one.
When they accused me of not being a Jesus lover. And I said, y'all think that's like an insult, but just little do you know, I do not need to be a Jesus lover. But y'all go ahead and worship white supremacy, aka Jesus, if you want to. So yeah, I got hate mail about that. Like, how you know what I do? You don't know what I do, but but definitely I'm not a Jesus worshiper. That's definite. And I know they meant it as an insult, and that's fine, because I'm okay, because I don't take it that way.
Lord, okay. I've had those emails before. You're not a Christian. I said, I don't identify as one. So what are you calling me?
I don't.
You know, I said, there's nowhere in the Bible that the Lord say be a Christian. He said be a servant, not a Christian. So I don't.
They want you to be a Christian because the gist of the email was, since I'm not a Christian and don't identify as a Christian, I clearly don't understand that white people are our brethren. White people are not my brethren. They are not. And I'm not interested in no unity. I'm not doing that. I don't believe in inclusion. I don't believe in integration. I don't believe in those things. I just don't, and you're not going to make me. Nobody. I don't care what kind of emails you think you send into my email. You ain't never going to make me be no unified, integrationist, diversified Black person who is a Christian. That's not going to happen. So stop sending me the emails.
Well, I would have told them, this is me. I guess I'm a little bit more different. I'm saying, okay, if we are brothers, right? Y'all have a horrible way, collectively, have a horrible way of showing brotherhood and sisterhood to your fellow, Black brothers and sisters. To say, because we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of documented history of that. You treat us like the enemy of the world, not as brothers.
The enemy of the enemy.
It's like, so show me where we have been brothers. I mean, and usually they can't show you. They can't show you.
That's not going to happen because it doesn't exist. That's why they can't show you, because it doesn't exist. And so therefore, since we can't find refutable proof, don't come to me with that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Keep it to yourself. Some things just ain't meant to be said, even if you think it's out of good, which it's not.
So with that being said, Nurse Angela, like I say, we want to thank you for being on the show today, giving us more education and letting us know what's going on. And I'm glad you got some great initiatives going. And like I said, this platform is open to you at any time you want to come and speak with us about the knowledge that we need to have. Because trust me, Black folks need a lot of knowledge.
Yes, they do. And thank you, sir, for having me.